So I'm going to start with a combination of the transparent oxide yellow and orange up in the upper area, the sky, and just a touch of walnut oil, enough to make it nice and fluid. Okay, so that's using a brush to get it on. It's very slow. I don't want to go that slow, so I'm going to take the rest of it with my paper towel, because I want just a thin undertone as it is anyway. I just want the warmth of it to go throughout the whole scene, because most of that color is going to be covered over anyway. I'm trying to get to the correct middle value tone, because then I can lighten it or darken it and warm it and cool it by degrees. If we get that middle value tone right, the rest of it will work all right. Okay, so I think that's probably a good color for it. And I'm only actually going to use a tiny bit in the very beginning parts of it, because most of it's going to get much lighter. I did not take that into account. So I've got my wash on here, which is still wet, of course, because we just started, and that's going to add a lot of yellow to it. So I should have warmed this up even more. I didn't compensate for that. I like the warm underneath all of these lavenders in here, because a lot of this is going to be cloud and it's affected by the setting sun, so it's going to have a lot of yellow in it. But when it comes to the sky areas itself, I don't necessarily want that undercolor in there. So manganese white, that is not the color I want. That's too dull. That's not the one I want either. You can see how much that orange, adding in the cadmium orange, how much that dulls it down right there. So that's cooler. This is a little warmer. I definitely want to be on the warmer side. So I'll wipe my brush off so I don't get that cooler color mixing in with that, otherwise it'll dull this down. It's very, very close to it. It's hard to distinguish the color exactly because of all the surrounding. I'm going for this area over here and all the surrounding oranges and colors disrupt that a bit, at least my perception of it. So when I'm flicking like that, I'm putting a lot of pressure on the brush in the initial placement of the brush so that it leaves a little bit thicker amount of paint right there, and then I flick it to dry brush part of that clump of paint up across the top here so that it gives that dry brush effect right there to break up the edge of that thicker paint and to pull it up through these clouds, just the same way that we did up here. So right now, all of the bright spots feel like they're on top of the clouds, and I need to feel like the clouds are on top of all the bright spots, because I want to push those back. There's too much of an abrupt ending right here. When I get back about 20 feet in my studio, this is very obviously a strong shape here compared to what we have over here, so I'm trying to create a little bit better transition between this shape here and this over here. So if it looks like I'm just moving my brush back and forth and not really doing much, what I do is I put down a lump of thicker paint, and then I use just those bristles that are all sticking out right there. I use those to kind of soften out the edges of it and move it around a little bit. And yes, I am aware that that's a very odd cut into the mountain right there, but I'm not too worried about it because I can come back in and eliminate it just like that. But I don't want the thought of something like that cutting into the mountain to stop me from being a little bit more vigorous with my brush, because I can come back in and correct something like that fairly readily. So when I come back this way, if you remember from other videos, I'm getting rid of the brush texture. I'm softening it down so that it doesn't catch the light on those horizontal brush strokes. Because then that affects the look of the values in it. It makes it look lighter than it actually is. And I want to get the true value there. I don't like what I have there, the value of that or anything. It just looks like a dark spot in there, so I'm gonna... Now some of that I could change just by coming on with lighter colors on top of it, but I want to get a nicer color for the base than that. Remember, if we have a good foundation, then we can put as much or as little decoration on top and it'll hold all right. But if the foundation isn't strong, then all of our embellishments are not going to save it. All right, so Christy asked, do you think that blue might be a little bit intense? And I said, I don't know. So we looked at it, pondered over it, and decided that we'd like it to be lighter, more around this color down here. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to glaze over it a little bit, dry brush glaze, and see where we go from there. Soften these out just a bit. This is meant to be like those airplane, what's left over, the moisture trail. And they kind of soften and expand out. But I also have it in there for some contrast and a difference. Because there's so much white in this, it's a different color temperature than what I have in through here with all the warms in those yellows and oranges. This is more of a little bit cooler, and I liked that variety in there. So you notice it was all softened out and kind of blended looking, so I wanted more of that broken texture in it, but I didn't want it to have too many parts. Well, there we go. At least for now, until we look at it for a couple more days again, and then something else might stand out, but we'll call it good for tonight. I hope you gained some very helpful insights from watching me struggle and progress through this painting, and that you'll have an opportunity to get out there and paint your own wonderful sunset cloud masterpiece. Have a great time and happy painting. That storm was phenomenal. My family and I were out in Colorado this last summer, and we had just gotten done spending time at the Colorado State Fair there in Pueblo. We were on our way back to my father-in-law's house, and the whole sky was just amazing. It was mesmerizing. So, of course, we had to pull over and get some photos and things of that storm. And just seeing all the colors there, it was just amazing. Everywhere we looked, kind of had a 360-degree view of this storm. Everywhere we turned, we could see something different about it. Different lighting, different cloud formations. Everything was so dramatic and just magnificent. It's part of what makes living on this planet just a magical experience. So for me, painting this brought back a lot of fun memories from this last fall, and that was a great opportunity. It's one of those things that makes being an artist Such a grand thing, don't you think? So I hope all of you get to get out there and paint your own cloud masterpiece, like I got to do just a couple of weeks ago. Painting's now sitting down here, basically dried out, and getting ready to be shipped off to a gallery. So I've started another one, just about finished with another one. I plan to use this painting as a springboard to an even bigger one. This was a 16 by 20, and hopefully I'll be able to do one 30 by 40, something like that. A scene like that, just can't let it go to waste. So I hope all of you get to get out there and see a dramatic sky like that yourselves, and have fun with it. Enjoy painting your own mountain cloud sunset scene like I got to do. Have fun with it. Happy painting.